Huwag yung kayong magkadisgrasyahan tayo niyan. Sinasabi ko yung magdidisgrasya kayo. At madidisgrasya kayo. Hindi ako urong dito. And I said, I would stake my honor, my life, and even the presidency.
Ikaw ang pangulo para sa pagbabago. Sawa na ang bayan ko sa magnanakaw na tao. Madilim na kahapon, ikaw ang mag-aahon. Sa piling mo, di ko mawawala ang korupsyon. Tayo na, Pilipinas, tayo na magbago. Hawak kamay tayo para sa pagkasenso.
Ladies and gentlemen, may we all remain standing for the singing of the national anthem to be led by the Manila Concert Choir, followed by the invocation to be led by Bishop Emergencio D. Padillo of the Middle Luzon Jurisdictional Area of the United Church of Christ in the Philippines.
Let us bow our heads in prayer. Eternal God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and Father of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, you are the light that never sets and love that never fades. You are the life of our lives and the love of our loves. We do not ask this day for dazzling displays of might nor power, nor electric exercises of intellectual prowess, nor marvelous manifestations of signs and wonders. We come simply to unite our hearts to glorify your holy name. Be with us, Lord, as we are gathered here to recognize your holy presence in our celebration. Help us not to check our minds or our hearts at the door, but enable us to bring all that we are to you, so that we might experience your touch upon all aspects of our life and work. O light of Christ, make us ever mindful of the glory of your presence in our midst. Shine among us in such a way that the darkness without and within may fade, such that we might truly see whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable. And if anything is excellent or worthy of praise, we can think about such things. O God, fill us with your grace. Allow us to grow closer to each other and enable us to nurture the bonds of friendship, camaraderie, and community. In Jesus' loving name we pray. Amen.
Let us all be seated, please. And now, to deliver the welcome remarks, may we call on the chairperson of the United Church of Christ in the Philippines, General Assembly, Pastor Keith Cabral.
President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, former President Fidel V. Ramos, distinguished members of Congress and the President's Cabinet and former Cabinet officials, and all those who are present here today, honored guests, friends, ladies and gentlemen, my dear brothers and sisters in Christ, good evening. We have come together to celebrate the life and times of one of the most distinguished and illustrious members of the United Church of Christ in the Philippines. And so in behalf of the United Church of Christ in the Philippines, I welcome you all. And part of this program is also to witness the book launch of one of his important work, Prosper Thy Neighbor. That this may to us not only be an eye-opener, but also an opportunity for us to recognize what God has given and our responsibilities as brothers and sisters in the Lord. And so we take pride in honoring one of our members in the church. And so thank you for coming on this wonderful and glorious evening. And once again, in behalf of the United Church of Christ in the Philippines, welcome.
Thank you very much, Chairman Cabral. And now to deliver, we will go to the book launching, and to deliver his message and to launch his 21st book, Prosper Thy Neighbor. May we call on former President Fidel Valdez Ramos.
Thank you, President Duterte, for gracing this occasion. Let me also thank the UCCP, led by Secretary Bishop Labuntog and Keith Cabral as chairman for your very good timing. Sige, palakpak. And to all of you for being here this afternoon. I must really thank President Duterte because of his bold timing. He's not only Duterte, he's Do-31. Ang gusto sabihin, he has much more to do for our beloved Philippines than what he is doing right now. This particular moment in our nation's history presents a wonderful opportunity for PRRD to receive the baton of responsible governance and leadership from the Filipino people who have done their share of nation building. That's you. Che, palakpak. Filipino people. And to continue to strive for humankind, never-ending aspiration for a better future. Wow! World of wonders. Tonight is happening. Such as important role as master of the faith of 105 million Filipinos plus thousands of foreign allies who are now the passengers of our chief of state, Pilipinas, now devolved on President Rodrigo Roa Duterte as a skipper of our weather-beaten, constantly embattled, but still seaworthy and proud chief of state. Proud. MB Pilipinas. Atin yan. He is today on the verge of achieving the transformation of the Philippines into an exemplar among the 193 member nations of the United Nations. But he must make a 90-degree turn to assume the harder role of skipper of our ship away from the traditional position of Commander-in-Chief, which emphasizes the military, the police, and martial law. The UN back in 2015, month of September, set the roadmap for developing and underdeveloped countries by the unanimous adoption of the UN 2030-17 Sustainable Development Goals, or SDG. The first SDG, adopted by all countries, whether affluent, developing like us, or least developed, like those in Africa. But all countries adopted number one goal: eliminate poverty. No more poverty. Wala na palimos. No more panhandlers. No more beggars. No more alcoholics. No more drug addicts in the streets. No more homeless. And this is where PRRD comes in. Because this is the fundamental problem all over the world. While SDG number 17 is mankind's aspiration for a better future, meaning we must have a greater degree of world cooperation and mutual support in the face of today's massive threats of natural and man-made disasters. Yes, Skipper Digong, we, your elders, but more urgently, excuse me, my oldest daughter will take over from here on. Sorry, nabubulol ako. Yes, Skipper Digong, we, your elders, must, but more urgently, the younger Filipinos.
The younger Filipinos expect you and your crew to save lives and enhance our people's future. Instead of using force and weapons to do your job. Kaya natin ito. Wow! So help us, God.
Thank you, Angel. And now, as a token of our appreciation tonight, and at the same time to give him his mission of eliminating poverty in the Philippines. I now turn over this book called Prosper Thy Neighbor to President Duterte. Sir, Sir, on the cover are poor people of the city of Alaminos in Pangasinan. They were given through the BOA Forum for Asia a donation of $50,000, good for 10 decent housing units for our poor people. So the symbolism is there. Prosper thy neighbor. Your neighbor abroad, your neighbor at home, your neighbor in a foreign land. Sir, ito po inyo.
Thank you, sir.
Maraming salamat po.
I respectfully appreciate. Yes, sir. Dito lang. Before I start, I'd like to restate my oath of office in just 2 sentences. My oath of office says, in not so many words, that I swear to preserve the nation and protect the people. That is all there is to it. Nothing follows. President Ramos, sir, thank you for inviting me. It's a great honor. It was more of your speech was a set of instructions, and I appreciate it. That you were talking about the ship of state, which is really the most important thing for all of us, and under my stewardship, that I should pursue the Filipino dream. Although you might not agree with all the things that I have done or will be doing, let me assure you that the light at the end of the tunnel is my country. And I will do anything for the Filipino people. And this might not really be too harsh for you to understand it. But when I was mayor, sir, I promised the people of Davao City that I will, you know how it was then, that I will build a city that could be comfortable for everybody. Might not really be a rich city, economically, maybe on the same flat line as the others at the time, but I said that I would make it comfortable for you all. And so I said, with a little bit of hubris, but which was really needed to make people understand and maybe to realize the gravity of the situation. And I said, do not destroy my country because I will kill you. And do not destroy the young people, our only asset
They are the assets, they are the human beings that would take care of us when we get old. Sila yung mangbayad ng aming medisina, oxygen, even the funeral parlor payments, and a humble lot in a cemetery. Because we are not all rich, so we have to depend on our parents as we depended on them when we were young. So it is important that this must be understood by all. It's not in my speech, I've diverted. Because I wanted to express my feeling as a Filipino. It's scripted man to, it's only 2 pages. Kakahiya naman kay. I was invited, I was reminded twice, and I said, I will go if it is His Excellency, the President Ramos, I will be there. So, that was my line. Perhaps to instill fear, because rather than kill them, the criminals and all, the terrorists, I might just get or convey to them, get to them, wag yan, not the thing, because it will mean something more than just fighting. And so when I became president, ganon rin. And now, not so many people realize it. Now, Trump and Guterres in Indonesia were talking about the gravity of the drug situation all around the world. Now, in the Philippines, I'd like to give you a little bit of what we have learned so far. I think this dope situation in Southeast Asia is being run by the triad of Asia. And Señalosa, it's doing her thing, the Midland cartel, using the network of containers. That is why do not conclude right away that the owner of the container is the smuggler of the drugs. The smugglers and the Señalosa have a captive audience inside. So they would place it under the ceiling because that's all steel. It is nakabalot pa yan. It's covered with high-grade plastics. So one of those was intercepted in Davao. Kaya kawawa naman yung mga tao, especially the legit importers, and their containers are taken advantage of by criminal gang. So this has to be a thorough investigation before we start to blame mostly Chinese. Seek first the advice of, anyway, we have the cooperative international intelligence sharing, and we can have that. So it's more important really is not to drag along innocent people into a criminal case which we are not sure of. My experience in Davao, what was the cargo? It was banana. Where was it headed for? In the United States. But the ceiling, before it came from a certain country nearby, it was already half filled to pick up more containers before going to sailing, I think it was in the southern part of America. Yan ang mahirap dyan. So if it's just nobody in his right mind really would do that. Dito wala nang laboratory masyado kasi alam nila patayin ko talaga sila. So they have resorted to yung jettison plastics and all filled with drugs. no more. It's being cooked in trawlers, in dilapidated ships, just along the coastal international borders. At itinitatapon. They jettison it and it's being picked up by the landlords, drug lords here. Well, as I said, there's the policy. I hope we do not have to stare at each other to say that I did not warn me. Drug is very, what would be the better word, vicious, and it destroys. Bato says it's 1,600,000. Before PDEA pegged it at 3 million. Taking Bato's figures at 200 per day, that will be about 6,000 a month. Times the 1/6 of Bato, times the number of days in 1 year, it could reach about 210, 215 billion industry. All reducing my countrymen into slavery to a drug called shabu. And they will hunger for it, and they will crave for it for the rest of their lives in an inutil and paralyzed human being. Yan ang masakit sa akin. And most of all, what pains me are those millions of Filipino workers. You know, when you remove a mother from a family where she is going to work in the Middle East, that family is partially dysfunctional. If the husband and the wife will decide to work, leaving their children sometimes to their neighbors, sometimes to their relatives, the family becomes dysfunctional totally. And yet we know that they suffer abuse. There are certain, I am not saying all, but there are certain tribes there that allow slavery. And even if you are a paid domestic, abuse comes naturally. Kaya masakit sa akin ng itong mga Pilipinan na taga-bukid, nandoon Abra, Pangasinan, as far as pati mga Moro na mga babae na punta doon. They endure it. Abortion is just an everyday thing there. That is why itong mga pills malakas ang binlaan. Wala tayong magawa. And they stay there for 4 years, 3 years, and suffer rape, abuse, being sometimes placed in a freezer for 1 month, and you want me to just smile? Say, we'll just let the diplomatic. That's good that I thank the Lord that we saw our countrymen now. Before I agreed to resume normalize the situation, I said that there must be given 1 day off. Cell phones and passports cannot be confiscated. No physical abuse or physical contact. And their pay should be directly paid to the bank. All these agreements were acquiesced, and we have a working document there to govern our relations. Well, I would not name the country, but this is it. I will gamble. And they say that you cannot invite them home. Why not? Because you do not have any money. Why? We cannot spend for our suffering fellow countrymen. Ano yung gumasto pag nag-uwi lahat yan dito? Di magtiis tayo. Ubusin ko yung pera ng gobyerno, pakain ko dyan sa mga Pilipino. What's the use of having a GDP of, and yet you suffer our countrymen are humiliated, degraded of their human dignity. Kaya nag-react ako, I am prone to curse, epithets. Ganon ako kasi nakakaano naman. Ayan ang sentimento ko. Huwag na huwag mong pahirapan ang Pilipino. Kasi pag pahirapan mo ang Pilipino, hindi ko mataisput. We are not, I was not born equal to your standards or values. May kanya-kanya tayong how we look at mine is simply, I said, to preserve the nation, and that is address to all revolutionaries. Either we talk or we fight. We'll go all the chances. And government has been talking. Miswari has been biding his time. He said that it will depend on Duterte's timetable. I told Noor na hintay ka lang, but we will come up with a happy compromise for all. I may not be able to give you everything, but on a scale of 1 to 10, if I can deliver about 6, that would be good to me. Don't you agree? So you're getting old. They say that I'm dying. Of course, I will die someday. Walang problema yan. Death should not worry anybody. It's inevitable and it can happen any day. So what is there to talk about my discoloration? Pumunta ako ng Jordan, desert, and I was watching I'm not, it was something to do with military. I cannot discuss it with you in public. Pero tinignan ko yung mabuti kung if it materializes, then we're thankful to everybody who can help us. The Marawi incident shows the need for cooperation with everybody. The United States, Australia, the government of America shared with all of these things, and ako naman, sabi ko sa military, just go ahead. I'm not in the mood to. Wala naman akong alam sa armas. I do not know anything. I'm not a technical person. I'm a lawyer. So just go ahead. So that's my stand. Remember this momentous event. The maybe one of the many crowning moments of your life, Your Excellency, President Ramos. But remember this. I do not know how you look at me. But remember this. If we cannot have law and order in this country, and if we cannot control corruption, we will never rise even in parity of the level now of Malaysia and Indonesia in 5 or 10 years. But do not castigate or crucify our country. Depende yan eh. So would you ask, is God fair? I don't know. I've been asking that question. But I'm sure there is God. How it evolves into something to human beings in this universe is something which I cannot really answer. But, you know, in the human history, right after the war, everybody was scavenging, but at the same time desperately looking for the resources to build their nations. Ang problema, I do not know if God has something to do with it, but I'd rather talk about the thing itself. Meron ang Indonesia, Malaysia, pati Brunei especially, they're awash with oil. Kasi it's a favorite term, it has become almost a cliche na sabihin mo na, yung Pilipinas number 2 noon. Tapos ngayon, we are second to the last Bangladesh. Why? Well, mas marunong man kayo sa akin. We do not have oil. We do not have the buffer for supply and even the hedge in the economy. You can take it out, pero everything that you see around, everything is oil. This one is made by a machine, powered by oil. The chandeliers, the step there. Gusto kong umiyak. Kasi I know how much of the gross domestic product would eat into our incomes. So every time, yung mga Pilipino naman, I don't blame the others. It's politics. The name of the game is politics. So the more that you are, that's politics. That's how the way to get power. Intrigue, lies, and everything. Kung everything is fair in love, in politics, and in war. Yan talagang totoo. Why would you blame the Philippines? Sabihin mo na, because every time there is an increase in the oil prices, if it's 60 per barrel, we are in trouble. And I will admit to the Filipino nation that it could not just be something like a huge inflation. It will redound to something like almost suffering. And that's why do not believe that I do not have a God. Of course, I believe in God. Even by computation, I started to doubt. But when I was in high school, I started to compute. Earth is, they say, 4.5 to 6 billion years old. And the skies are full of trillions and billions and trillions and billions of foreign matter, planets, galaxies. If I try to compute the average odds of us being hit by another meteor that would be as big as ours, for 500 billion, wala talagang tumama. Walang tumama because there is God. Because if God allows everything to go out of the gravitational positions, we will be banging each other and there will be no universe. Considering how huge the universe, but also the foreign bodies there, at 4.5 to 5 billion, sabi ba, really, that long, walang nangyari? If there is no something of a universal mind controlling this universe, matagal na tayong tapos. And that is my thinking of why there is God. Pero to be asking na bakit binigay ng Diyos yan, wala sa atin, that is something for the human mind and soul. Because the soul has the mind, and probably at that time, God will give us the answer. In the meantime, we are going 4.5 or 5 billion years. And maybe in 200 billion years, may tatama talaga ba siya? But I will be shaking hands with you in heaven. So that is my, but for the, sir, basahin ko na lang, sir, with your permission, yung speech ko. Kaawa naman yung gumawa nito. I have been president, this stuff works over time, really. So, I do not use former. President is a title that sticks to you until kingdom come. So His Excellency President Fidel V. Ramos and Madam Amelita Ming Ramos, Their Excellencies in the Diplomatic Corps, Education Secretary Leonor Briones and the other members of the Cabinet, Senator Cynthia Villar, ma'am, and other members of the Senate are here. Ma'am, yung kandidato ko, ma'am, awa pa naman. UCCP Secretary General Bishop Melzar Labuntog, Chairman Pastor Keith Early, Cabral, and other members of the United Church of Christ in the Philippines, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to have been invited by President Ramos to give this keynote message on the launching of his book, Prosper Thy Neighbor. Indeed, we all want not only the Filipinos but our countrymen to be in a comfortable place. This is indeed another milestone in his brilliant and prolific writing career, and one that is surely to inspire all of us for a long time. Please stay around for another 100 years. We need you. This compilation of speeches, essays, anecdotes, and editorial underscores the role of a president as the skipper or captain of the Philippines, the one person who can unite in resolving pressing issues that we face as a nation. He also offers valuable insight on the role of the Philippines in achieving the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, built on the core and principle of leaving no one behind. These goals target the eradication of poverty and the promotion of sustainable development across the world. Mr. President, I assure you that in this administration is exerting its efforts, ultimate efforts, even utmost, in making more progress to achieve these development goals, not just because it is mandated by the UN, but more importantly because it is for the good of the nation, the Republic of the Philippines. This is why we have made great strides and we remain unrelenting in our efforts to address the root of causes of poverty and hunger, unemployment, corruption, criminality, dangerous drugs, endemic disease, environmental degradations, and climate change. So, tignan mo ang Boracay ngayon. Sabi nila bukas mag-inaugurate. I will go to Boracay, but I will go to distribute the lands given to the artists. Di ako masyado. I'm not into sumptuous celebration. But I will go to Boracay to personally distribute the land reform program certificates to the Lumaj, the natives. Binigay ko sa kanya yung entire, the whole of, kasi alam ko pag hindi maubos yan. And Boracay is just a small place. If you allow hotels and every subdivision there, it cannot. It's because a world-class, everybody wants to go there. And if you have a land, it cannot carry beyond its normal capacity in terms of environmental loads and burdens. So, hindi ako pupunta doon. But I'll go there someday too. I'm waiting for the Department of Agrarian Reforms to, well, para sa akin mas importante yan. I am through with dramas and show-offs. I am stuck with my term, and I do not have to go politically. I might go there someday, but not just to, ayaw ko ibandera maganda na kasi daw ang Boracay. And I saw the footages sa TV. And I hope that now that it's clean, it has been eradicated of the bacteria, the huge bacteria there. I hope that the local government, and of course with Roy Simato, who is there, I just talked to him, was asking me a moment ago if I'm going there. I said, no, I'm not. I'll go there for the land distribution of the land reform. The Philippines remains firm in preserving our diplomatic relations with our traditional allies and the international community as long as it is constant with our national interest. It is under this paradigm that we continue to do our part in global cooperation against the universal problems that plague our world today. Let me thank President Ramos again for his wisdom and for his inspiring thoughts conveyed to our people, especially our youth, to take part in achieving the international community's aspiration for lasting peace and sustainable development and a higher quality of life for all. He said, remember that it's not our fault really, even with the present, but we are trying. You know, at one time I was so exasperated in a command conference that I asked that if every major commanders of the armed forces, Navy, Army, sabi ko, tumindig lang kayong apat ngayon. You stand up to signify your willingness that I will step down, and I will step down. I offered to step down. Sabi, hindi ko kaya. Corruption dito, tapos maasahan mo dito, pagdating mo, meron na naman na bago. It was a cabinet meeting, then after that, the command conference. Sabi ko, hindi ko kaya. Hindi ko kaya habulin. Hindi ko talaga kaya habulin. Every desk in this government, with a few exceptions, merong pag mag-transaction talaga. So I have to revise the procedure. Hindi naman tumindig ang military, pati police. Ibig sabihin na, sige, trabaho ka muna dyan. I will revise the entire, you know, my, I don't know if I have the time, but just a vignettes of life. My father was a governor of Davao, 12 years. But when President Marcos won, he got my father into the cabinet, general services. So my father was one of the two remaining nationalistas who did not jump over the fence. As the usual, ganun, kung saan administrasyon, doon yan. But my father and I think it was Governor Ibarle of Zamboanga refused. So when President Marcos won, he got my father into the cabinet. His Excellency President Ramos, my favorite president, amongst all, including the incumbent. He was the chief Philippine constabulary at the time. But Ramos was very bright because under the general services was the Bureau of Supply, Philippine politics, Philippine culture. Maaga nandyan. So President Ramos, Marcos said, you know, go into some kind of canvassing. There is always the international pricing. Kung magbili ka ng tractor, tignan mo lang. And if it's a matter of 3 or 4%, commission yan, pati freight. Pero kung mag-abot na ang price difference, you compare it with the international pricing, and it's about 10 or 20%, that's corruption. So malaman ko nga, so I'm setting up that body. Will nothing but, tingnan lang nila yung mga presyo sa lahat. Start with paper clips, down to paper bonds, then to chains. Then I will decide who will, titignan lang nila. Just checking, another checking. So I do not mean to, this is not set up for, no. But rather, just to call your attention that, no, medyo mataas yan. You know, nandito man lahat cabinet members. No transaction will ever reach my table. Nandiyan ba yung mga cabinet members? Speron, si Delfin Lorenzana. Walang transaction dito na MRT, LRT, reclamation. They do not. It begins and ends with the cabinet member. I only sign mga appointments, tapos yung central bank, whatever, that's submitted to me by Dominguez, yun lang. And for the life of me, you can ask anybody. Walang papel na. Yung frigate, I promised everybody that if there is corruption, you can come to me and I will give you any time of the day or night. Sabihin mo lang doon sa gwardiya, may reklamo ako kay Duterte na may corruption. And I will call the idiot immediately. Nga lang nangyari dito, the complainant was the winning bidder. Nag-complain siya doon sa Malacañang, bakit hindi pa i-deliver yung brigade? So as practice, pagkasabi corruption, give it attention. Binigay kay Secretary Lorenzana, tapos iniper niya sa legal, which is really the proper course. He's not a lawyer. Somebody got hold of it. Yung brigade. So, Malacañang was wala, tapos na yun eh, pa-deliver. Ang nanaw sa niya, kailangan ko i-deliver to. Kasi pera to eh. Yun lang ang complaint niya. Well, it could be misconstrued, misinterpreted, but still, the policy is there. If it is corruption, there's an 888. You can call it anytime. Just leave your number. If you do not want to be identified, leave a cell phone number. And I will treat it with utmost confidence. Yan lang. Tapos tawagin ko. Pag negosyante ka, ganon, corruption, I will call him, as I did in some. May undersecretary ako yung sinipa ko sa mukha. At tinawag ko yan. So what's your complaint? He's here right now. Kita na talaga ng himago siguro itong mga presidential guard. Butangiro yung sila kita ng presidenteng nagbubugbog. Sinipa ko talaga sa mukha. But it was really a serious offense also. I could have killed him. It was so serious, I could have killed him. Sabi ko, just go away. Yun ang policy. Kung magduda kayo, you can sabi ko nga, cannot file a case against me for corruption. Not in a million years. I do not even call them. You can ask them now, was there a time when you swore to office that tumawag ako sa kanila for anything? Or whatever, for any matter. I do not use the cell phone. Sabihin ko lang kay Senator Bong. Ito si Senator Bong, go. Hindu ito, it looks Chinese because the father is go. Mga, sino bang taga-Batangas dito? Kababayan ito, ito? Tesoro. So, naman sa Batangas. Batangginyo talaga yan. Kaya nag-migrate Davao, nag-asawa ng... But yung ano nito, ang beginnings nito sa the Philippines, Batanggenyo ito. Tesoro ang nanay nito. Sabi ko kay Bong, sabihin mo lang, mag-usap na lang kami bukas. Ito, tanungin mo yan sila. Magtanong ka ba sino? Your 1 peso will win 1 million. Wala akong tinawagan. I do not even know their number. Just a reminder, kasi sabi kay Dilpin Lorizana na we have to talk about these things. Ganon po ako. So rest assured na sabihin niyo may paborito ako na if at all, it could take place sa mga cabinet members ko. But I tell you, they are all honest. If they are into business na legit, they have to earn living. Most of them are military. Now, why? Let me explain, sir. This is the last paragraph. Pasahin ko na lang, baka makalimutan ko. On this note, I would like to congratulate my idol. Palakpak. Kayo lang ang audience na kailangan pa, you have to egg. Where's your enthusiasm? On this note again, I would like to congratulate my idol for his successful book launch. I wish you good health, sir, and greater success in your undertakings. We will be forever grateful for your uplifting leadership and for your selfless service to the nation. Sir, my salute. Thank you at mabuhay kayong lahat.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, for your encouraging words. At this point, we shall have our photo opportunity with the President in 2 batches as follows. The first batch will be with the former President Ramos and his family, followed by the UCCP officials. Kindly get ready, UCCP officials at the back. Si ano yung Father Aloy.
Ikaw ang pangulo para sa pagbabago.
Bahagal ng chair.
Sawa na ang bayan ko sa magnanakaw na tapo. Madilim na kahapon, ikaw ang mag-aahon sa piling mo.
Thank you very much.
Mawawala ang korupsyon. Tayo na, Pilipinas. Tayo na.
May we now have the second batch, the UCCP officials.
Hawak kamay tayo para sa pagkasenso. Ikaw at ako, tayong lahat kay Rodrigo Duterte para sa tunay na pagbabago. Masdan mo ang paligid, alamak mga krimen.
Thank you very much. Batch 2, you kindly exit to your right. Once again, thank you very much, President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, for gracing this momentous event. Again, ladies and gentlemen, President Rodrigo Roa Duterte.
Tayo na, Pilipinas, tayo na magbago. Hawak kamay tayo para sa pag-asenso. Ikaw at ako, tayong lahat kay Rodrigo Duterte, para sa tunay na pagbabago.
Why am I here? I am here because I love my country and I love the people of the Philippines.
Ikaw at ako, tayong lahat kay Rodrigo Duterte, para sa tunay na pagbabago. Ikaw ang Pangulo para sa pagbabago. Sawa na ang bayan ko sa magnanakaw na tao. Madilim na kahapon, ikaw ang mag-aahon. Sa piling mo, di ko mawawala ang korupsyon. Tayo na, Pilipinas, tayo na magbago. Hawak kamay tayo para sa pag-asenso. Ikaw at ako, tayong lahat kay Rodrigo Duterte, para sa tunay na pagbabago. Masdan mo ang paligid, alamak mga krimen, rape, droga.